Hey and welcome back to my channel. How are you, my little angels? I hope you are all well. So if you're new here, my name is Hebe Hyam. You may know me as Hebe Hyam PT on Instagram, and I am a fitness and wellbeing coach, and I love to share everything fitness, nutrition and mindset with you guys. So today's video is a really exciting one because one of my lovely subscribers, Flora, has recommended this or suggested this or asked if I would do a video on this for you guys. So today we're going to cover all things about calorie deficit and tracking. So I do want to just put a warning out there that we are going to be talking about calories. So if this is not suitable for you, then please turn away now. So I am firstly going to go through how to calculate a calorie deficit, but at the end I've got some really good tips for you on how to just stick to that calorie deficit and make sure that it is as sustainable for you as possible. There is a lot to learn, so if you need a notebook, please get one, or you can obviously just pop it into the notes on your phone. There's a couple of equations. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but just working out your calories, and I really want you to take note of all of these things. So please now go and get a pen and paper if you don't already. But before we get into today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, my little subscribe button, and join the fitness fam today. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So I know you guys have probably heard the term calorie deficit a lot. It is the only way to lose weight or to lose fat. But what actually is a calorie deficit? A calorie deficit is where you consume less calories than you burn per day. But how do we work out what calorie deficit is for you? Firstly, I want you to understand that there are a handful of steps that we take here. So the first figure that we come out with is not your calories. So please, if you're not going to watch the whole video through, I want you guys to know that this first number that I give you are not your calories, okay? So I'm going to go through some of the equations that you have to do. So first of all, we are going to work out our BMR. So that is our basal metabolic rate. And these are the calories that we burn just through literally living. So if we were to just lie down and do nothing, like not even wake up all day, these are the calories that we would burn. Just so you guys know, these calories are going to be low, and these are not the calories that you're going to be eating. Because I did this on TikTok and so many people were coming at me saying, why are my calories so low? It's because they didn't listen to all parts of the video. Now, this is the calculation and this is the equation. It's different for male and female. So I'm going to say it out loud. I've got it in front of me because I obviously can't remember this off the top of my head. So just bear with me whilst I'm looking at the looking at my script. But I'm going to go through female and then male after. So this is how to work out your BMR for females. So you're going to take 655 plus 4.3 times your weight in pounds plus 4.7 times your height in inches, take away 4.7 times your age in years. Okay, so that will come up with a figure. So that will come up with a BMR. So that is your specific BMR that is specific to you. And this is why when you see on social media, when people say, try not to listen to everyone's calories are completely different. So please take it with a pinch of salt when you see what someone else is eating. It literally is completely dependent on your height, your age, your weight, whatever that may be. People can look very similar to you, but they can weigh completely different. So please bear that in mind. For males, the equation is 66 plus 6.23 times your weight in pounds plus 12.7 times your height in inches, take away 6.8 times your age in years. I am going to obviously make sure that the equation's up here, but I'll also put them in the description as well, just in case you guys forget, because it is super confusing. Okay, so now we have our BMR. So that is our basal metabolic rate. So as I said, these are the calories that we literally burn just through living, through breathing, literally through doing nothing else other than living. Now we're going to incorporate the exercise and the activity that we do per day. And this is going to come up with your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. So this is the amount of calories that we burn per day through going for a walk, going to the gym, standing up, sitting down, working on our laptops. Everything that we do still will burn calories. Digestion, everything that we do in our day still will burn calories. It just depends on what you do to the amount of calories that you burn. One thing that I really want to point out is a lot of people overestimate how much exercise or how much activity they actually do per day. So really make sure that when you are coming to terms with this part of it, that you really think about how active you actually are per day. Think about a normal average day, not just one of the days that you sometimes go to the gym, like a standard day. How active are you? So with your BMR, you are now going to take that figure and you are going to times it dependent on your activity levels. So for example, if you are someone who has an extremely active lifestyle, i.e. you work out literally 1 to 2 times per day, I wouldn't suggest that, but if you are someone who works out 1 to 2 times per day, literally every day day you have a very strenuous job, like you're moving things constantly, you're always on your feet, you're picking up boxes, you're lifting things, all of that kind of stuff, that is what I would call someone with extreme exercise. You are going to times your BMR by 1.9, and this is the same for males and females. If you are someone who has a very active lifestyle, so you heavily exercise kind of 6 times per week and still have a relatively active life, i.e. you get your steps in pretty much every day and they're probably over like 10, 12,000, you're going to times your BMR by 1.725. If you are someone who is moderately active, so you exercise 3 to 5 times per week, you hit your step goal every day, which is 8 to 10,000, I would say that you're moderately active, so you're then going to times your BMR by 1.55. And if you are very lightly active, i.e. you work out 1 to 3 times a week, you have a very sedentary job, then I would times your BMR by 1.375. And this is how you can see the huge difference in calories that people can get when they're calculating. And also you can see the difference if you overestimate your exercise or underestimate your exercise. It just shows how much it can leverage the decision. Of course, it will take a little bit of time to get used to that and a little bit of testing what calories are right for you. So definitely take it with a pinch of salt. One thing that I would suggest is just testing all the time with every client that we have. I see what calories they're on. I try and see how they're getting on. If it's a struggle, if it is too many calories, if we're not losing weight, whatever that may be, then we can come to that decision further down the line and decide exactly when to change them. Please don't try and rush this process, because I'm telling you, the longer and the more sustainable that this process is for you, the better. Just one thing to note when we're on the point of overestimating how much exercise we do, if you have a tracker, like a fitness tracker, an Apple Watch, what other ones are there, Fitbits, all of those kind of things, definitely, again, take that with a pinch of salt, because they are massively inaccurate sometimes, and they're really good. They have their place, they're good for getting your steps in. I love having mine to see how many steps I've done. I mean, it's not always accurate. I'm probably getting some steps in waving my arm around right now. It's not always 100% accurate, but it's a good representation for things like that. But please, with the calories that you burn per day, I would really avoid looking at your watch, because the same with the rings, it's just not essential. Just make sure that you're doing what feels good for you. Okay, so now we have worked out our TDEE. So that is what we would class and we would start as our maintenance calories, okay? So I'm gonna use just a very generic example now. So say your TDEE is 2000. That's higher than what my TDEE is, but I want to use it because it's a very easy number to work with, okay? So say your maintenance calories, your TDEE is 2000 and you want to lose weight. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to decrease those calories by 3 to 500, nothing more, but 3 to 500 is kind of around the right place. What I would say is probably start with taking away 300 and see how you get on there, because you would rather start where you then have more place to move than kind of start all the way at the end and then not be able to sustain it. Okay, so say for example 2000, we're going to take away 300, so your calorie deficit will then be 1700, between 1,500 and 1,700, okay? Now, the same thing we can work in the opposite direction when we go into a surplus and we try to gain some muscle. So the same thing, I would work between 3 to 500 above your TDEE. I try to avoid going anything over kind of like 20 to 30% of your TDEE, just to avoid any excess fat gain, but also it's not completely essential if you don't want to overeat that much. But as I said, over 3 to 500, so obviously you're going to be eating 2,300 to 2,500 calories to gain or build muscle faster than if you were just in a slight surplus. Now, going back to calorie deficit, because that is what this is all about. So we now have our calorie deficit calories, so that's between 1,500 and 1,700. As I said, I would choose one figure and stick with that for a while. Say for example, we stick to 1,700 for 3 weeks and then we start to not see as much weight loss. Okay, so now we're going to decrease it to 1,650 and then hopefully we'll still see that weight loss coming through. If we get all the way down to 1,500, I would stop there. Make sure that you're taking some rests in between. Definitely take diet breaks every so often. With clients, if we find that they're getting really lethargic, really hungry, really peckish, really tired very easily, then all of these things are signs that we will try and put a client in a diet break. So we'll increase their calorie deficit or increase their calories either to their maintenance or by 200. So say they're at 1,500, we probably put them up to 1,700 just for the time being. So it's really important that you are thinking about things like that, and make sure that you don't get frustrated at yourself, because it is a slow process, and to be sustainable for you, it has to work for you. you and no one else. Try to find the best thing that works for you. Now, as I promised, I was going to go through some of my top tips for a calorie deficit. So if you are in a calorie deficit, this does not mean that you have to cut out certain foods. And I can assure you right now, the best thing for you to do is not to cut out certain foods. Having the ability to track what you eat gives you the flexibility to have these treats now and then. This means if you want to eat a chocolate bar, you can. You just have to work the rest of your day around it. Something that I quite often like to do is, instead of having like a whole bar of dairy milk, I will have a Freddo, or I'll have a Curly Whirly. I'll put the photos of them here for people that are not in the UK and don't know what that is. If you want to go out for dinner, you go out for dinner. You just need to make sure that you know the nutritional value of the foods that you're eating, and if you don't, it is not the end of the world now and then. But if you do want to try and lose some weight, then sacrifices will have to be made here and there, but those sacrifices are very small. So don't overthink this, and don't make yourself feel as if you literally can just eat chicken and rice, because I can assure you right now, what I tend to do is, if I know that I want a Freddo Frog, so a chocolate, so I want some chocolate in the evening, I will work the rest of my day around that. I will prioritize fitting in that chocolate bar, because for me it is what will allow me to stick to my deficit. So I pop it in there, and then for the rest of the day I will work out my calories around it. Knowing that I'm going to have it later in the day is exciting, and also just makes me stick to it a hell of a lot better. The only thing holding you back from tracking efficiently is laziness and organization. And it's savage saying that, but it is. If you are just being lazy and you're not planning and you're not preparing, that is the only time that you're going to fail. You have to be organized with the foods that you're eating. And as I said before, yes, if you go out and you can't track your food, it's not the end of the world. Choose things that are high in protein, high veggie, high in fiber, all of that kind of stuff. And that will definitely help you to lead towards your goals. But it is not the end of the world if you do go out now and then. Small sacrifices will have to be made every so often. Moving on to maximizing your calories. I know that I've mentioned that obviously pre-organising and pre-planning will help you so much on this journey, but do we really know how we can maximise the calories that we're eating? You always want to get more for your money, right? So I would always opt for high volume foods, and that tends to be vegetables. One top tip that I can give is ensuring that you have fruit and veg with every meal that you have. Most fruit and veg is incredibly low in calories, which means that you can fit a lot of it into a bowl. Also, of course, they are very high in micronutrients, so it is something that we want to be getting in every single day. Also, another thing is incorporating protein into every meal will help, because often protein is definitely missed within a diet, and it is absolutely crucial for you guys to be eating it. Protein keeps us satiated and also keeps us full, so it does mean that when we do have enough of it, hopefully it will allow us to avoid excessive snacking. And number 3, maximizing your activity. Now, I know this whole video feels a little bit food orientated, but it's not all about food. Exercising comes hand in hand with your calorie deficit. The more exercise that you do, the more of a calorie deficit that you're going to be in. Now, that doesn't mean that you excessively exercise, because as you remember, we do work out our calories alongside our activity levels. So if you do a workout and it says on your watch you've burnt 200 calories, firstly, take that with a pinch of salt, but secondly, you don't want to then re-eat those calories. Those calories are there already calculated in your calorie deficit. So please, anything that your watch says, don't allow yourself to think, oh, I can now eat that because I've burnt those extra calories. No. That is included in your TDEE and your calculations that we made. So one way of maximizing your activity is setting yourself a step goal. So we do that often for our clients, and that can be anywhere between kind of 8,000 to 12,000 on average. Of course, some people are really active already, so we do increase those or decrease them depending on their goal. But step goals are really easy to get in. They're also a lot less impact than kind of HIIT exercises and high cardio exercises. So they're definitely something that is good for you to get in on a day-to-day basis. Now, I know sometimes when it's cold and it's wet and it's rainy outside, that is when it becomes difficult, but you can head to the gym and go onto the treadmill and get some steps in there. Now, rest and recovery is also super important. I would suggest resting for 1 to 2 days. These can be active rest days, so where you still hit a step goal, but it means that you're not progressively overloading in your workouts. Our muscles really need time to rest, and I'm telling you, it is really important, especially when we're in a calorie deficit. Our body is strained, our calorie deficit is straining, so we need to make sure that in every other aspect we're really helping with our sleep, our nutrition, our hydration, and all of that kind of stuff. But all in all, please ensure that you are maximizing your activity sustainably and efficiently. I would suggest working out 4 to 5 times per week with 2 to 3 rest days dependent on lifestyle factors. Now, finally, what app do I use to track my calories? So I do obviously have my online coaching platform that does have the meal plan with all of the calories and macros on there. But if I'm going off plan, then I will use MyFitnessPal. And MyFitnessPal is really, really good, really handy and really easy to use. I've been using it for a very, very long time. And essentially you can just scan in the meals, or you can create recipes, all of that kind of stuff that works for you. One thing, as I said earlier, that I love to do is add all of my favorite foods in that I want to eat that day at the beginning of the day, even if I'm eating them in the evening, because it then allows me to work the rest of my day around that. For me, this is the only way that allows me to feel totally unrestricted, and it is all about flexible dieting. That is why we can track our calories and macros. To be honest with you, it really, really makes me feel so amazing that I literally can eat the foods that I love and that I like, whilst also trying to get the physique that I want. Now, I hope this video has not been too much talking at you, but I hope that a lot of you have found it super, super useful. And anyone that has any other questions, please let me know. If you want me to delve into anything else a little bit further, then please, again, also give me a shout. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye!